Hey guys, Matt, IronTrap Garage, and today we're going to do a Will It Run video. So when we were recently picking in New England, we were buying a lot of flathead stuff, and the guy's stuff who we were buying at the estate, he had a 49 Cadillac, so we're guessing he had a spare Cadillac engine and trans of the same vintage, not exactly a 49, but same era, that was sitting there. We did not want the boat anchor of automatic transmission. It weighs like 600 pounds, so we cast that overboard and brought just the engine home. So this engine was literally just sitting on the shop floor. The starter was missing. There was no carb on it. We found the water pump off and sitting on the ground. So we're gonna see what parts we can cobble together that I have in my stash. And typical deal, we'll just hook it up, see if we can get this thing to fire and run. And yeah, see if it's a good engine. If it is, then it's gonna go into some kind of neat old Ford, yet to be determined. So let's get started. All right, so we do not have a 4-barrel carb that matches this spread. So we're going to, I have a spare tri-power intake that I've had kicking around forever. I bought at the LA Roadster show like 10 years ago. So it has nice 97s on it. So we're gonna bolt that on just so we have something to feed fuel down into the intake. So we're gonna pop this cast iron 4-barrel intake off and throw the fancy intake on and see what we can do. Put any mouse crap or whatever. Steve just slept too. It was clean for a lunch break. There's some Caddy blue under there. You want to have an air ratchet in the bottom drawer. Holy crap, that was a giant chunk. Have at it.
Got some miles on it. To have all that dirt up there. Just come here, give me the air.
You know what you're doing. Whoa, whoa, whoa.
I got an idea.
Whoa there, Turbo. Don't break that distributor cap. That's also the last one in the world.
Gotta take that off. 7/16 wrench.
Got it.
You got something else hooked to it. That comes through, you have to bring it out, fish it out of the hole.
There you go. I think this uses those metal, yeah, these are metal,
What is that? That is just a bleeder.
huh? This,
Just an open port.
it's vacuum as well. It probably went to the car, to the wipers. It comes out of the fuel pump.
It's just open.
Well, yeah, probably somebody cut it off. It went to the car. Driver's side, fuel line's going over. Let me just switch my hands around.
Go ahead, you gotta kinda get under that.
There you go. This bit. We don't need it.
You probably won't be using it, so.
That's a concern for.
That's like next week, Matt.
Right.
Good note, has a pilot bearing, pilot bushing in the crank.
Does it?
It's
Cool.
always a worry on some of this GM stuff.
Right.
Remember what? But I think Cadillac might not be that way, the early Caddies.
Yeah.
But like once they, I think the later Caddies, once they stopped offering stick shift, they didn't even drill the crank for stick shift. So if you try to put one in a car, it's not.
Right, you gotta get it machined.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So these, and I think olds might be the same way, the later ones.
Probably.
If it came out of an automatic, it doesn't have the hole and you have to have
okay.
them. But the earlier ones, they drilled all the cranks.
Yeah.
Leave that up. Put that plate on.
Oh yeah. That coffee can over there has all the secret bolts to put stuff together. Even while we were doing it in the guy's driveway, I was like, find a can, we need to keep all the Caddy bolts.
Yeah, right, yeah, don't get rid of those.
All right, that's plenty tight for, just gotta hold the starter. There we go. All right, so now, in theory, we should be able to just set it on that lower bell housing, you can run the engine,
Good.
because it'll spin inside.
Yeah, it'll protect the,
Sorry,
Protect the
I couldn't
flywheel.
skip this.
Stop it. All right, so we got the engine up on the stand on the table here, and we learned this with the Stroll Coupe with the olds, the early GM V8s. They did some weird stuff with the starters that were like almost fit but don't fit, and we had a starter kicking around. We didn't find a starter with this engine. It might have been somewhere in that garage where we were digging, but didn't get it. I thought I had one laying around. We had a rebuilt starter that's Caddy that Steve has here, and it must be like a later one or something different because it didn't fit. So we've been customizing. So I had to smooth a little bit here on the casting. We had to put a little notch in here so we could clock it just a couple degrees to get the bolt holes to line up, or bolt hole. And then we don't have a solenoid for it. This is an old rebuild one, so we're stealing one off an old starter. And then Steve had to make this a fork instead of a hole because it's just off a little bit. But we did figure out that it's a 9.2 starter. We bolted it up and spun everything over. It clears, it doesn't hit anything. And then we moved the lever here to put the Bendix and put the gear out, and it meshed, and we heard it spinning the starter over when I spun the engine. So once we get that solenoid on, we should be able to crank this thing over with a battery, make sure that it cranks and nothing explodes or hits or whatever. We don't know, whatever the next battle is, but this is a problem when you're cobbling old crap together. You can't just go down to the parts store today and in an hour have a brand new Cadillac, starter just, on the shelf, more than likely. So we're gonna make what we have work. He's got a solenoid. Most of the GMs, the early GMs, the solenoid was basically the same. All we're running into is this starter with the bracket that it has was sitting just a tiny bit high that this stud isn't going through there. And this is a good rebuilt solenoid that we stole off of a nice chrome. I'll show you here. This is from my blower engine. So this is a nice rebuilt chrome old starter. I do not want to cut the shit out of this because this goes back on here and that's more important. So this starter actually has this, we were laughing because this old chrome starter has the same modifications done that we were just doing to this Caddy one. They notched it just a little bit because this is probably like a 51 to an on old starter, and they were putting it on with a 4950 lower bell housing and ring gear, and that's why they have to do all these modifications. So this is common crap that guys were doing back in the day. We're just reliving the headaches. We're just a little smarter because we have the internet, but not a lot smarter.
right.
So we'll fix it up, see if we can get this thing to crank over with the starter, and then we're gonna put fuel and spark to it. Let's see what happens. This thing's already getting hot rodded. Stick shift flywheel, modified starter,
Tree cobs.
3 carburetors. It's a good starting point for a Cadillac.
It is.
3 and up. All right, got the starter all hooked up with a cobbled together solenoid. We were having a little trouble that we did not film, unfortunately, of the solenoid wasn't moving far enough, but this solenoid and that starter were rebuilt, and who knows if they've been sitting since like the 60s, but Steve moved it mechanically with a lever, and we got it to move far enough, because the starter wasn't spinning, but it was moving the arm a little bit, and sometimes that little piston in there, has whatever, has grease that's dried up. So now, let's try it again. Yeah, see, we're not getting, it moved on its own that one time.
Yeah.
I wonder if it's
It didn't pop all the way back when I pushed it in either.
So it might be sticky in there.
See, it only popped back that far that time. We'll have to,
I have to take the solenoid
I
apart.
think we can adjust. There is a little bit of adjustment on there.
All right, we'll try with our jump pack and all kinds of stuff we got going. We think with the solenoid is not the right solenoid. So we got about 18 things going on here.
Well, let's see what happens without doing that.
All right, the battery was shit and it wasn't enough to,
Yep.
okay, so that solenoid's good.
All right, so we can just erase everything we did for the last 20 minutes.
No, I didn't feel We're thinking the solenoid's wrong.
Oh, yeah.
Hold on.
Oh, there's all kinds of shit wrong here. Everything's wrong.
Hold on, let me get rid of this. Let's try that again without 18 jumper cables and all this. No, all right. Now give it a try. Yes.
Yep.
All right, so we need different battery, charge the battery. That or we gotta pull our service vehicle in here.
Ooh, there we go.
Yeah, I think that battery is just hurt.
I think you're right. Yeah.
And it's a smaller battery anyways. It's not really a like deep draw battery.
right. Yeah.
So
it's just
it would
a
probably,
regular battery.
it would be fine in a car that, like my dad's car now that has an alternator and it runs well.
Yeah.
It'd be
Oh,
totally
yeah.
fine.
You're right. Yep.
But we kind of abuse this shit with these.
That one's been. Well, that one came out of your truck and.
Oh yeah, that was the one that I took out because I thought it was bad.
Yeah.
So that was already 8 years old in my truck, or 7 years old. Because I put that in when my alternator went bad in my truck like 6, 7 years ago.
Yeah. That one has seen some use.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of corrosion on that side.
It was all hiding over there.
Yeah, the other side wasn't bad. This side's really pretty bad actually. I don't know what it is, if it's the material on the points, that it gets that white, you know, that it's so bad on the points.
Right. Yeah. Like. It's some kind of oxidation, like a rust sort of
Yeah.
thing. Yeah.
That looks better. All right. All right, so we got a better battery hooked up while the other one's charging. Steve's got his spark tester there. I filed the points.
On.
All right. Might need to file the points more or check something else. All right, so I filed the points again, just I was a little more thorough with it. And one thing, so we're pretty sure we have spark now. So one thing I do for anybody that's a beginner on this stuff, that for me is you can pretty much tell if it's a point system if you got good spark. If the engine's at the right spot and you touch the battery and you get that spark, we know that the condenser and the points and everything are working, and we should get spark to the engine. So that's always a great sign, and that's why I knew right away. I was like, I probably didn't follow the points enough, so I followed them a little better. Now we got a good spark. We know the condenser's good. We know the points are fine. So we're gonna check spark. We already pretty much know we should have it, but we're gonna check it to be thorough, and then we can add fuel and see if it fires. So,
Oh,
yes,
that was good spark.
ready?
Yep. Good spark.
Great.
That's got
It'll run.
good spark.
It'll run. Should run. Let's get her. All right, what do you want to do, Steve? Do you want to just spray something down and see if it makes noise? Or do you
yeah.
want... All right. I didn't know if you wanted to go right to fuel or if we wanted to just spray some.
See if we can make that sucker cough once.
Yeah, that would be ideal. Hopefully this does something.
That's the stuff that. God damn it! I keep dropping that.
The what?
The wire.
What wire? Oh, baby. Let's give her fuel.
That's it.
Yeah.
She's getting the gas.
All right. It actually fired there for a few.
It did. Oh, that was definitely a fire.
Nice.
That's pretty.
All right, so we're gonna try and work around this starter. We got fuel. Steve cobbled together a fuel delivery system.
If you want to call it that.
It's pretty funny. This is what we do for right now because we got an engine on the run stand and we got like 20 engines in the shop right now. and then he blocked off these 2 carbs. So we put a return spring on, disconnected the progressive linkage. We're trying to run it just on the center carbs. So yeah, give me some spark.
Spark.
Just needs a... I can do it. That was all. Oh, there's some.
Spitting nuts out.
Gotta. That's never a good sign.
No, you hit me in the foot. Oh, what the hell was that?
That's true. It's getting there.
Yeah.
Might just be...
That's half choked out.
What's smoking now?
It's all coming out of the exhaust.
Oh. I disconnect that?
Yeah.
Almost smells flooded. All right, so we swapped our carburetor out. These were just sitting on this engine for a million years. Something's clogged in the one carb. It was not giving us any fuel, so we just swapped the good chrome one we have. Since we have so many parts in Stromberg's, we just save some time.
Yep.
So what we're gonna do is see if we can get this thing to run now that we're getting fuel out of that carburetor. So I'm gonna hook the ignition up. We'll.
There's no choke on it.
Yep. Ready? Yep.
There you go.
That's good. I'll give you that. That's better.
Mm-hmm.
The starters. Probably just choke, I'm guessing at this point.
Yeah, at this point, yep.
Getting there.
It sounds like it's idling high enough, yeah.
All right, so Steve blocked off the carbs properly. We were messing around before, so he put some block us under the carbs. Get this one hooked up. We actually just got it to fire and run a little bit. This carburetor and this whole setup is not optimal, so we're just gonna get it to fire one more time and hear it run for a few seconds, and then I think we can work on getting the radiator set up and get a better carb set up. But let's get to see if we can get the fire one more time. All right. Ready?
Ready?
See if we can not start my hand on fire.
Yeah, I know.
Ready?
Yep. Nice.
There we go.
Heck yeah.
I'll call that a win for today.
Oh, yes.
We shot flames, we made combustion. Now we need to get this set up a little more like an actual engine. And yeah, and then really see if this thing's good. But mail day. Got our package from Steve at Holley. So Holley and their subsidiaries, they hook us up with stuff occasionally. So hit them up because we needed a 4-barrel carburetor. We had that 3.2 intake. Carbs were not rebuilt. We just kind of got it to fire and run. So I called them up and said, hey, what do you guys got? So they basically should be sending us an adapter that goes, this is a factory 4-barrel intake, but because it's an early overhead valve GM, the carb pattern is not like a standard pattern. It's a lot different than, or a bit different than, you know, the modern Holley's, Edelbrocks, all those different carburetors. So, got this package, and I'll open it up from them. And hopefully there's a carburetor and an adapter in here. It's not one of those confetti bomb things. Kablooey!
Oh, it's looking good.
Yeah, baby.
Oh, boy.
Nice.
Fuel line?
Oh, he sent us a fuel line too. Dang.
Damn.
So Mr. Gasket is also owned by Holley these days. So they sent us some of their parts. I mean, they've offered for a million years, all kinds of stuff. So we got the adapters. I kind of told him what the engine was. It's basically a stock 331 52 Caddy engine. So I think he said it was like a 570 something CFM carburetor he sent us. We're not planning on really popping this thing up much, other than just make it run and drive. So we want it to run and drive nicely. So Steve likes himself some 4-barrels.
I do. Big fan. Big fan.
And so we love the 4-barrels. They Dad's Daily has one on it. Runs awesome. Starts every time, and that car drives very nicely with that new Holley carburetor on. I think that one's got like a 600, or maybe the same, like high 570s. And we got mechanical choke. And we're gonna basically, my goal is, hopefully, if this all works out, use this carburetor, and then we have an original Batwing air cleaner over there. So we're gonna try and modify that or adapt that to this. So because it's so big, it'll kind of cover the modern carburetor and keep it that old school vibe. So we're bordering on street rod here, but I think for this car it'll be pretty cool because it's gonna be more of a custom with the hood down. So it isn't a big deal. So Steve's gonna get the adapter and this bolted on, and then we're gonna see if we can run this on the table. And as long as we give it a good bill of health, then we could start cleaning it up and getting it ready to paint and put in the car. All right, so before we start digging into this, we'll show you guys. So we got the adapter here. This adapter goes from a WCFB early GM 4-barrel, and this guy will basically, if I get the pattern right, of course I don't get it first try. That goes like that, and that will bolt down. Now we have to take these studs out, and they supply little countersunk Allen bolts that will go into the manifold. So we'll take those out, and then the carburetor basically will sit on top of that with the wider pattern. So we're hoping, so we're gonna try and just get this thing running on the bench with that. That's the plan. We're gonna get these studs out, get our adapter on, get everything bolted up, and hopefully be running fuel to it shortly. All right, so got our carburetor on with the adapter. The fancy fuel rail they sent us doesn't really work with the stock Cadillac fuel pump. So for right now, they also include this little T setup with hoses, which honestly, for being kind of old school like we're looking for, that probably is more realistic anyways. So, but for now, this worked quite nice. So got this in. Steve's got some cobbled together gas tank stuff here going down to the stock Caddy fuel pump, which did work if you guys remember when we fired it earlier. And he already filled up the carburetor bowls. So we are ready to try and fire this thing and see if it runs a little bit better with this nice new Holley carburetor. All right, well, and we got a correct starter now. We took our cobbled together starter off, and we have the correct starter with
2 bolts in it and everything.
2 bolts in it. This is much better than the first time we fired it.
Yep.
Got our ignition there.
Carburetor squirting.
Do we want to test this starter button? Or did you already do that?
I didn't try it yet. Oh
I
man,
heard that.
now that is an accelerator pump.
Might be a bit on the... That was noisy. Is the throttle turned down? It's not idling too high? We don't know yet.
No, I have it cracked open just a little bit, I checked
Okay.
it.
So, as you guys saw, we got this thing running. Really, the hero of the project was the Holley carburetor. So it was the, I believe it's the Street Avenger, I think is what they call it. It's just a small CFM carburetor, mechanical choke. I just wanted something. Basically, I kind of told them, like, I want the simple, you know, mechanical choke, everything just very basic. And as you guys saw, we like cranked it up like once, tried to run, stalled. Second, that was like the second time maybe it fired and just idled, and then it just ran for 15-20 minutes, and it did great. So yeah, that saved a lot of hassle. That's why I just decided to call Holley, because we could have gotten a WFCFB and rebuilt one of them and fought with it, or put the 3.2 intake on it and did all that stuff. But really, we just wanted to get this thing running. I'm not quite sure what we're going to put it in yet, and that's going to be my answer. My question here for the end of the video: what do you guys think we should put this engine in out of all these cars that we've recently got and that we have? Should we put this Caddy in something? I'd like to hear down below in the comments. But this thing runs, has good oil pressure. It was, even with not taking the pan off and cleaning the pan of the sludge, which we know is in there, it was 15 pounds of oil pressure when it was warm and idling. We ran it for 15-20 minutes. I don't even think it ever got up to 170 degrees. I think it might have just been getting to 165 when we shut it off at like 17 minutes. So really, I'd call that a win. Though we don't see anything that's real scary on this thing. There wasn't crazy blow by that we could really see. There was a little bit puffing out of the valley cover, but we took the stock road draft tube off, so normally that would be going down. It was just coming up, so that was the excess smoke that you saw, but I didn't see anything that was real crazy. And I think we can doll this thing up, put some new gaskets in it, clean the oil pan up, and hopefully paint it up, and it can go in a hot rod or a custom and live another life. So very exciting stuff. Hope you guys enjoyed this video showing the process of getting an engine literally from a shop floor that's totally unknown forever and getting it running. This is really one of our favorite things to do. And second favorite is putting it in something and driving it. So drop a comment down below. Let us know. What do you think this Caddy engine should go in? Thanks, guys. Catch you later.